guys? Big Mike, D717 Outlaw, back with you here today. We're out in the truck, cruising around. I wanted to bring this video out here to help some of you new diesel buyers figure out what to look out for when you're getting a diesel truck. So any of you that are new to the channel, this is my 2013 LML Duramax. Picked this up about 2 weeks ago. Has 50,000 miles on it. Phenomenal truck for what I had. I had a 2016 1500 Silverado prior to this, but just needed the extra towing and extra fuel economy to go with towing, because the diesel can tow a little bit more fuel efficiently than the gasser. So a few things, like rule of thumbs, to look out for if you're on the search for a new truck. Big thing in a diesel is knowing your maintenance records. See if there's any sort of records available, whether it's regular oil changes, tune-ups, fuel pump changes, fuel filter changes, water separators, anything like that. Try and find as many service records as possible to keep you up to date on what the truck has been through and how the previous owner or owners have taken care of it. The other thing to look out for is your accident reports. A lot of trucks might have small fender benders, get a fender replaced. You'll never know that it was in an accident. Try and check an accident report and see what specifically was wrong with the truck, if it was ever involved in any sort of accident. And that's the big thing. You don't want to buy a truck or spend the money on a truck going to find out the frame's tweaked, or maybe there's a crack somewhere that you didn't see. Just make sure the accident reports give you everything you need to know. Now, the big one that's notorious for any vehicle is the slow killer everyone knows as rust. Check the rust spots. If there's any that you see, look for bubbles in the paint. Check your cab mounts. Check your frame. Check as much as you can. If you have the opportunity, if you're looking at a truck, to go underneath it, crawl underneath the thing and really look at it, take the time to do it. I looked at my truck. The only thing that it had were a few specks of undercoating were taken off, which I'm actually going to have the frame touched up. I'm actually going to do that myself. That'll be a new video, and I'll show you guys a little bit of tips on how to do that. But that's the big thing. Check for rust. Rust is a very, very slow killer of trucks, especially if you're buying an older truck. It could have rust and you might not even know, or if you don't take the time to look at it, could catch you in the end. The other thing to look out for is mileage. A lot of times too with mileage, what people do and do not tell you is check and see if the truck has it accessible to check engine hours and idle hours, because if a truck doesn't have a lot of engine running hours, it might only have 100,000 miles on it, but if it's been sitting at idle for 1,000 hours, that's a lot of wear and tear on the motor just sitting there for that long. Most of the times that's more of a commercial use vehicle, like if you're going to be sleeping in it or something. If you're doing like a hot shots type deal, pull into a truck stop, pull the truck over, just let it idle and keep the heat and stuff on while you're comfortable sleeping. Those kind of things. That can be hard on a motor as well. And going with part of that as well is you want to check the usage of the vehicle. Was it a commercial vehicle? Was it a rental? Was it personal use? Was it farm use? Try and figure that out by either the person selling it, whether it's a dealership, see if there's anything on it. Usually you can find some of that usage through a Carfax report if any of the vehicles have it. I know my truck I bought from a I am the third owner of this truck. First owner actually leased it for about 20,000 miles. Second owner bought it for 30, and then actually traded it into the dealership I bought from for a 3,500 to tow a little bit more. Truck, he only put 30,000 miles on it. Truck had gently used modification, or not used modifications, has very minor modifications, including the fast lift pump, the 4-inch turbo back exhaust, intake, and a tune. Now the tune wasn't really to increase horsepower, it was more to do a def delete. This thing has the diesel exhaust fluid eliminated, so that's one less thing I have to worry about. A lot of, I think 2010, 2011 plus diesels are notorious for emission issues, mostly caused by switching to def fluid, because there's a lot of systems that surprisingly harm the motor. It might make the exhaust cleaner, but they're not that good for the motor. And that's why I got lucky enough to get a 2013 that had a def delete already done, so I don't have to worry about it. And it's just, like I said, one less thing to worry about with the truck. Now, Also, going with the modifications that I have in my truck, that's one thing to watch out for when you're buying a new diesel. Check for any modifications. I mean, an exhaust and intake and a tune isn't really going to kill it, but if it has engine mods, check and see that it has transmission mods to match that, because surprisingly, minor mods on a diesel can add a lot of horsepower and torque, and a lot of that being put through a very basic stock transmission will tear up a transmission faster than you think. So you want to make sure that if the truck has mods, that it has supporting mods for every other component around that to go. Especially because sometimes people sell them, try and find the reasoning. Because if it's a private sale, they might be selling the truck to get rid of their own headaches if they put mods that aren't quite working as well as they had hoped. So just be wary of that. Also, another modification that might cost you, especially in an inspection, my buddy got bit in the ass by this with his truck. He had a 2005 Cummins, I believe. He had bought a truck with really deep offset wheels and tires. He went to get it inspected, and it had to get all new joints replaced, had to get ball joints, U-joints, wheel bearings, everything. Even wheels and tires can be a bad modification. I mean, if they're an upgraded wheel but they don't have a bad offset, go for it. They're perfectly fine. But if it has like a negative 44 offset, or they're 14 wide wheels, I'd strongly recommend that you don't go for that, because there's going to be some hidden things that are going to be wrong that are probably going to catch you when you go to get an inspection or go to get it serviced. So just keep those in mind. Check your maintenance, check your accident reports, check your mileage, check for rust, modifications, and the prior use of the vehicle, and you guys should be set on getting your next diesel. Make sure you put in the research, guys. It'll save you in the long run. I put in 2 years of research to find my truck, and I couldn't be happier. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, drop a like, drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.